Good morning, everyone. How are we all today? I hope you're all fine. If I'm sounding a wee bit soft and not so loud today, that's because Charlie Cat's decided to take up residence in my lap for now. I think he's a wee bit worried I might get overexcited again. But no doubt we'll work round him as we normally do until he gets up out my lap and onto the table or away for a wander. But as I say, you'll probably just see his wee ears there. I'll give you a look at him. He's doing there, purring away nicely. Anyway, folks, good morning. Hope we're all well today. I see young Reagan Elite. Charlie Cat's decided to move. I see young Reagan Elite's in the audience this morning. Good morning, Reagan Elite. He was talking about a really important story on his show last night. And he was talking about how one of the main media regulators here wants the mainstream broadcasters to be given prominence on YouTube. I think whoever this regulator was has missed the point of YouTube. YouTube's for ordinary people to make content to entertain each other or to inform each other. As Reagan Elite pointed out last night, BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Sky, they've all got YouTube channels. They've all got big audiences in YouTube. But they're not a go-to thing on YouTube. But what the regulator wants is every time you open up your YouTube browser, the mainstream media broadcasters will be first when you click the news selection, which is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. And the other thing that the regulator seems to have missed is the reason why people come to social media to get their news is because nobody trusts the MSN anymore. They're not reliable or honest. And there's going to be a few examples of that this morning, as there is every day in this newspaper headline review. Okay, so numbers are climbing excellently well. Let's get on with it, shall we? Andy Truck Davy out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it's overcast, although the cloud is thinning. Sun and showers in the forecast. 18 degrees at the moment, and the pollen count's high. Main allergen is grass. Alright, so that's what the conditions are like here in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. If you want to know what it's like where you are, look out your rain one day. Okay, let's move on, shall we? First up this morning, we've got the Rancid, and as you know, we don't put the Rancid up. But what's the Rancid on this morning? This morning, the Rancid has a story covered in yesterday's Two Davies, and that is Police Scotland not happy with police and Trump's visit. They have approached the Home Office for reinforcements, but that just shows you the incompetence of the Home Office. Now, they have known Trump's been coming for a while. They knew Starmer was going to meet him. They also knew that it was going to need to be a big security operation. Now, when these events have happened in the past, the Home Office and the Minister at the time would have put a policing plan in place. Now, what is the basis of Police Scotland's argument? Well, we'll get to that very shortly. And I mean we'll get to that very shortly. Thank you, Oz. Very generous of you. Okay. So, as I say, we know what's happened in other events in the past, like COP26, the G7 before that. We know how these things are planned for, and we know how they're policed. So, as I say, we'll get a wee bit more of this as we begin, because a few of the papers are covering this story. Okay. Next up, we've got the Scotsman. So we'll put the Scotsman up, if we can find it. Okay, now we know what order they're in. Here we have the Scotsman. The Scotsman's telling us police union warning over legal action, or police union warning of legal action over Trump's visit strain. Now, this is what I mean about Home Office incompetence, folks. Now, the whole basis of the legal argument is based on why there's always been planning and cross-border policing for these events. What the complaint is that the Home Office and the Home Secretary haven't planned for this, which means that the whole contingency, which would be policing Trump's visit, would all have to come to the cohort of Police Scotland, which means you have taken a huge amount of mainline officers off the streets and off normal duties. And that means that the police who are left on duty on the streets will be understaffed and at risk. And not just will the police be at risk, the public will be at risk. So let's say you're Plod and you and your buddy are called out to an incident. We'll call it a multi-car pile-up at a junction that's got many roads leading into it, and the roads are now all backed up. Nothing's moving. You have a bunch of angry people on your hands. You've got 2 Plod, and you've got 4 streets, 5 streets to clear and back up. But when you pick up your radio and say, hey, bad situation here, need backup, you get a wee message down the radio. Sorry, bud, no go to anybody. They're all looking after Trump. You now have a situation where the public are in danger and the officers are in danger. That's the basis of the legal case. And that's why always in the past, the Home Office is a meticulous planning for these things. And that's what shows you the incompetence of the current incumbent in the Home Office. Yvette Cooper. She's known this event's been coming for quite a while now. And yet no contingency police force put in place so that the police in each of the nations of this land don't go short on the front line. This is gross negligence by the Home Secretary. Incompetence by the Home Secretary. And it's a reflection of the leader of the party of governance. Because he's a fucking incompetent and all. So you can expect his Chancellor to be incompetent, his Home Secretary to be incompetent, his Foreign Minister to be incompetent. In fact, you expect them all to be fucking incompetent. Really? How poor a job is Yvette Cooper doing? Prescribing peaceful protesters who take direct action as terrorists and arsing up the simple job of organising a task force to police Trump's visit so that the police forces in these lands don't get depleted and police officers and the public are not put at risk. This is basic stuff. This didn't need a rocket scientist to work it out, but apparently Yvette Cooper couldn't work it out. Jeez, oh. Honest to God. Next up, just to mix things up a bit today, we've got the Times. What's the Times got for us today? Britons face decade of rising bills in water industry overhaul. Well, I checked with the Britons in France and their water system's fine, thanks very much. So let me correct that headline for the Times. England faces decade of rising bills in water industry overhaul because only England of all the nations on the world was fucking stupid enough to privatise their water system. Who? Sorry, only England's leaders were stupid enough to privatise their water system. Not enough officers for Trump's visit, warns police. Yvette Cooper's an incompetent, is what that fucking headline should say. And Reform wants beefy bobbies on the beat. So fat chaps in uniforms are going to race down the street and catch Nimble little housebreakers. Beefy bobbies on the street. Bunch of fat chaps trying to chase fucking teenage hooligans along the street. That'll go well, eh? Fridge isn't known to be the brightest candle in the box, though, is he? I mean, he's that thick. He is that thick that he did a live speech yesterday and it was getting fact checked by the BBC while being broadcast. Okay, you couldn't make it up. And yet people are going to vote for the fucking idiot. Oh, super chat in there somewhere. Thank you, Arthur, you're a generous man. It's a deliberate acknowledgement to make Scottish police government look bad, in my opinion, David. You're absolutely correct, Alistair. It does make the Scottish government and Scottish police force look bad. But I don't think it's deliberate. I really just think Yvette Cooper is that fucking incompetent. We know that Starmer's an incompetent fascist git. Yvette Cooper's an incompetent fascist git. To say, but that is a possibility, Alistair. That is a possibility. But I really don't think they're that fucking clever. I don't. Right, next up this morning we've got the Metro. There's not much more to say about this one, but we'll put it up. The Metro has Federation warning to Police Scotland, cops in legal threat over Trump's visit. No. I mean, I don't know why they're warning Police Scotland. Is that how poorly the police are running on it? They don't know who to target in this case. Their case would be against the fucking Home Office. The Home Office has failed to plan and put contingencies in place for the safety of the people and police officers of the 4 nations of this land. But they've decided only to put one nation under threat. Scotland. They've decided only to put one nation's police officers at risk. Scotland. They've decided only to put one nation's public at risk. Scotland. And as I say, I don't know how many times this is going to be said. But normally, when we have one of these big international events, with G7, COP26, a presidential visit, the Home Office would have put together a force to ensure that ordinary, everyday frontline policing could continue as normal. They haven't done that. And the Federation should be aiming their ire at Yvette Cooper. No her own bosses who have been left with this in their fucking lap. So much for being a member of a union, eh? They want to put an equal member of a union. No equal at all. We'll just let Jock go on with it. We'll just let Jock pay for everything. We'll just let Jock police everything. Fuck. Righto. So as I say, there's not much more to say about that. Right, this comes on a tragedy story today. Second death at Ibiza Hotel. Hockey ace dive in holiday plunge. 3rd floor balcony fall. Days after, Ewan tragedy. So apparently, 2 guys in 3 days have fell off this fell out a 3rd floor window in this hotel. I've looked this story up, folks. If you're going to Ibiza, avoid that fucking hotel. Next up, we have the Herald. Now, this one annoys me. This one really annoys me. For reasons that just I don't quite sure, but it irks me. I think my logic is this thing's going to milk this for everything. And it'll be the detriment of the NHS, it'll be detriment to the people of Fife. But she'll make a fortune. So there's going to be compensation for a tribunal and are hurt on having to go to a tribunal in the first place. But as we get further and further into this, before we got to this tribunal stage, she was offered a reasonable settlement, a reasonable way out of the situation, but we'll get there eventually. This nurse Peggy, Sandy Peggy, now intends to sue the Royal College of Nursing, the union, because it was hostile to gender critical members. Well, at the time, equality was more important than DNA or biological sex, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And being critical of members who don't accept equality for all would be sort of the remit of a trade union, would it not? It would be the sort of remit of a trade union. Equality for all. Inclusivity for all. So to be critical of your members who are no willing to be equal and inclusive in the workplace and treat everybody the same. You would think that would be a trade union's job, wouldn't you? Anyway, this one's suing the Royal College for Nursing. Will she win? I don't think so. I mean, if anybody's going to be critical of inequality in the workplace, you would expect it to be a trade union. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. But this one's going to nurse it. This one's going to milk it for everything but looks at. Suing the NHS. Suing the Royal College for Nursing. No doubt she'll be suing the transgender doctor and all. I see, for some reason that one just irks me. It really does. That one really, really annoys me. Right, next up should be the Looney Ragby Express. So let's look and see what the Expresses go for us this morning. Boss tells tribunal of offer made to Sandy Peggy after breakdown of work relations. Trust plans to keep nurse away from trans doctor. Now, what the trust did was what any sensible employer would do if you had to sort out a dispute in a shift pattern. You basically just say, listen, you guys are not going on well, so we're just going to shift you from shift to shift so you'll not be working together. That's a logical thing to do. But apparently it's a bad thing according to these knuckle-dragging fucking idiots at the Express. Now, in any work situation where there's a shift pattern, two people are not getting on in the shift, move their shift around. Take the one that's not going on with the other and swap them out onto shifts where they won't come between each other. They won't meet. Peace restored to the workplace. Logic, common sense. But according to this rag, the trust was planning to keep nurses away from trans doctor. It was trying to sort out industrial relations within its organisation. It runs a shift system. The logical answer was to move Nurse Peggy and the trans doctor onto different shifts. But apparently that wasn't enough for Nurse Peggy. Okay, so after it wasn't enough for her, and she refused, the trust did say, well, maybe we should relocate you to another nearby hospital then. And she wasn't having that either. Make of that as you will. But the trust didn't plan to keep them apart. They planned to restore order to the workplace by moving them onto separate opposite shifts. It's the logical bloody thing to do. Yeah, of course, the knuckle draggers that read that paper wouldn't quite understand that that would be the logical thing to do to restore harmony to the workplace. The mind fucking boggles. And I mean the mind boggles. This one, really. Folks, be prepared to wander into an alternative universe. Mr. Milligan, strap in. We're going down the fucking rabbit hole. We have the Daily Field. Oh, it's the eye actually. We have the eye. Let's look and see what the eye's got for us today. Rising state pension age beyond 68 is inevitable, warns for eyes, as future triple lock in doubt. Now, folks, I don't know if I'm now living in an alternative fucking universe or not. Pension age to rise. These fucking muppets in government are telling us that AI is going to replace us all in the workplace. And they're talking about pensions. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Who's doing the planning? If we're not working, how does the government raise revenue to function? Because last time I looked, this computer, my machine, my car, they physically don't pay tax. I do that. I pay tax. Now, take the car as an example of a machine. Take the need for a driver out it, and it's an automated machine. It doesn't pay fucking tax. It's no pension these people should be talking about. It's universal basic income and how they're going to raise revenue against machinery that doesn't pay fucking tax. If I just wandered into an alternative universe, I remember Mr. Starmer clearly telling us that AI is the future and it's going to replace his own industry. These idiots are still talking about pensions. They should be talking about how the state's going to raise revenue and how they're going to support the people who no longer have jobs and who, in effect, will all be fucking retired. This is nonsense. They're supposed to be planning for a future. And they're talking about policies of the past. Oh my lord. We're being told within a couple of decades, nobody will be working. The AI will have done all the heavy work. We'll be growing all the food. We'll be producing all the goods. We'll own nothing but be happy. Who's doing the fucking planning? Who's doing the planning? Because I must be living in an alternative fucking universe. I could swear these politicians are telling us AI's the future. And here they're talking about state pension. How the fuck are they going to raise the revenues if none of us are working? These machines don't pay fucking tax. I pay tax. You pay tax. AI doesn't pay tax. Oh, fuck. As I say, the nonsense in the paper, folks, and the short-sightedness of government. You can't negotiate with stupidity. You know, there's a fair bit of truth in that class action. But you can always try gaffer tape to shut it up. You know. Fucking state pension. We've got politicians telling us we'll all be unemployed in 20 years anyway. This is fucking nuts. Oh, dearie. As I say, we've just stepped into an alternative universe. What's the Daily Field goal for us today? Oh dear. That one's for you, Mr. Mulligan. Straight down the fucking rabbit hole. Right, where are we? The Scottish Daily Field. Warning, retirement age could soar as Labour launches review. Now prepare to collect your pension at 74. I expect most of the jobs in the UK will be automated by the time I get to 74. And I'm fucking 57. So we're talking less than 2 decades here, folks. And by the way, I intend to be around when I'm 74. Very true, class action in 1979. I think I watched that one actually. Tomorrow's World said the robots would take over the world 46 years ago. Aye, I know class acting. I do know. I think, as I say, I remember watching the programme. Unfortunately, I'm old enough to remember watching the programme. It was a favourite in our house, Tomorrow's World. Yeah, shit. The Daily Feel. I think I must have shut something down. Better check and see what was next. Number Express, DI. That's the deal. So next up should be the Telegraph. So no, I haven't shut something down. Okie dokie, let's look. The Telegraph. Rayner demands tax on tourists. Well, here in Scotland that's been introduced, but it's been introduced at council level. The government's not that desperate for money apparently. You know, but the councils need the money. Mr. E, thank you. What pension? Don't worry, Mr. E, you'll get UBI. Huh? Don't you worry, Mr. E, you'll get UBI. Hey, so a Telegraph, Rayner demands tax on tourism. Why not? The tax fucking everything else. You know, they're at a level of incompetence and spending incompetence that it's beyond mind-boggling. I mean, 27 billion to fix their fucking maternity care down that road. That's half the Scottish government's annual budget, and their maternity care works reasonably well, thank you very much, with the exception of in Elgin, where they have a problem getting people to go there as specialists. And that's got nothing to do with Elgin or the hospital or anything. That's got to do with the fact that we don't have enough specialists to run the maternity unit there, and we can't hire them in because some fucking idiot put up a roadblock called Brexit. Okay, let's move on. What's the national vote for today? Hold on, stop sharing. Take that one down, and we'll see what the national vote for today. Lately, this fucking rag's been getting under my skin, and today's another one of the days, folks. You know, and I subscribe to the bloody thing. Subscribing to it doesn't help though. You can never get fucking into it. Every time you go to sign in, it tells you, Anyway, protesters defy far-right abuse. Now guess where the far-right abuse is coming from, folks? You're right, Starmer's government. So, protesters defy far-right abuse. They blockade the gate of factory. There you go. Now, comment. Jonathan Shafi makes case for a total reset on Indy. Do you know, Jonathan? Hit me up, man. I've got not a fucking clue what you're talking about. A reset in Indy. What do we do? Do we put... catch you later, Stephen. Charlton. What do they do? Stuff the fucking idea back in the bowl. Whack your cork on, wipe everybody's mind, and pull the fucking cork back out the bowl. Oof. I have no idea what this guy's talking about. Total reset on Indy. What the fuck is that? This campaign's been ongoing for as long as I've been alive. Well before the last referendum. What a lot of nonsense. And 3 arrests made under terror law. Let me fix that fucking headline for the National. 3 arrests made under misuse of terror law. There you go. That wasn't a hard one. Swinney condemns unbearable attack on Gazans seeking aid. Rightly so. And there is pressure for the Welsh and Scottish Parliaments on the Westminster government to fucking sanction Israel and stop supplying them with arms. But Starmer the Unionist Zionist isn't paying attention to the public or the other parliaments or anybody for that matter. Unfucking believable. They say we have wandered into the realms of alternate reality. Get rid of the National. What's coming after the National? That'll be the Guardian this morning, I think. Yep, it is the Guardian. Israel launches offensive on Gaza aid hub amid fears over starvation. David, did I ever tell you yesterday that Israel has started a new ground offensive in the rubble to drive people to the Rafah, to drive people into the Rafah concentration camp, which has been constructed. As I say, at least the Guardian's given it some coverage. David and I told you about it yesterday. But don't be used, folks, but this whole situation makes me feel grubby. And although I don't want to be in this union, as long as I'm in this fucking union, I expect a moral government doing that fucking road. I expect a government that understands and complies with international law as well as domestic law. Because that particular government doing that road is breaking international law and misusing domestic law against the citizens of this union. And as I say, for as long as we're in this union, I want all the parliaments of this union to have a moral compass. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to be in this fucking union, because the place we're talking about, the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers, is the most corrupt cesspit on the face of the planet. And that shithole London is the biggest fucking sewer on the planet. And that's got massive competition for the Vatican and Washington. We're an absolutely disgraceful situation we're in. Another call centre, want to sell me solar panels? Then you have to answer that time. Right, I've put the book down, so that means one thing and one thing only. That just leaves the star. And you know what? I can't remember what's on it. So what will we look together? Shall we look together? And the star. Oh, it's another football story. Number 1 for Lionesses. Comb on England. I have no fucking idea what that's about, and I have absolutely no interest. None. It's obviously a football related story. And I don't know whether that's promoting cannabis or no, but hey ho. So there you go, that's a start for you today. But pensions, talk of pensions. Pensions. It's class action says 1979 the robots were taking fucking over. You know. So I guess we're still on pensions. We're talking about universal basic income and how we're going to raise revenues in a society where people don't actually do physical labour to earn money to pay taxes. I don't really know what anymore, to be fair. Reality isn't reality anymore. Things are going out tits up. I mean, I never thought I'd see the day when Scotland was controlled by a fascist state. I never thought I'd see that day in my lifetime. But I have. No, any boffins today, Sir Larry, sorry. Not been any boffins for a while, actually. It's been highly disappointing. Right, that's it for the day, folks. I'm going to go and schedule the motors, and then I've got a couple of things to do this morning. So look after yourselves, and I'll be back tomorrow morning to do it all again. And tomorrow's Wednesday, so I think we'll get David in playing the supermarket stooge while I throw headlines at him. Okay, catch you all tomorrow. Bye for